Modern slavery in Pakistan. Slavery is an issue all around the world. You've probably heard about it in the past, as it has been going on since before the 19th century. The horrible conditions these people live in, the things they're forced to do, all of this is going on right now as you watch this video. As a matter of fact, right now there are over 3 million people enslaved in Pakistan alone. According to the US Department of State, the country of Pakistan is a Tier 2 country. This means that there have been significant efforts on the country's behalf on trying to eliminate slavery. It seems that not many people believe that Pakistan has put enough effort into eliminating human trafficking. For example, the Express Tribune released an article on July 13, 2018, claiming the government has taken insufficient measures including weak prosecution and lack of actions. Pakistan has remained a Tier 2 country on the annual Trafficking in Persons report for 4 consecutive years. As a consequence, the United States has warned Pakistan that if they don't put enough effort into reducing the amount of human trafficking, they will lose their civil aid, which would cost Pakistan millions of dollars. The fact that there are so many different types of slavery is what makes it harder to target and identify. Any kind of forced labor such as sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, forced labor, bonded labor, domestic servitude, and child labor is considered a form of slavery. According to multiple humanitarian agencies, much of the modern slavery in Pakistan is based on the production of bricks. The most common type of forced labor in Pakistan is manual labor. Manual labor is when someone is enslaved with the purpose of working for someone else. They could be working a field, making carpets, clothes. As long as they aren't being paid, they are experiencing forced labor, more specifically manual labor. In the majority of the cases in Pakistan, the manual labor induced on the slaves is the production of bricks. You might wonder why someone would enslave another person instead of just hiring an employee to do the exact same thing. But that's the catch, the trick, the purpose of slavery, to avoid having to hire someone else and have to pay them when you can just have a slave do it for free. You might think it's mean and insensitive, in a way it is, but slaveholders don't see it that way. It's exactly like what Kevin Bales once said. People do not enslave people to be mean to them, they do it to make a profit. This is probably the most accurate thing I have heard about slavery. The real purpose of a slave is to reduce the amount of money needed to do something. Whether it is to work a field, to make clothes, or make bricks, their main purpose is to drive the prices down. This is why it makes sense why the majority of forced labor is in the brick industry. A slave can make the bricks and you sell them continuously, making money on a daily basis without having to pay anybody. Slavery is terrible and horrible as it is. But did you know that in order to have a slave, many people are involved in the process, not only the slaveholder? There are so many families that get trapped in slavery because of debt. Although debt slavery is illegal in government, there is also a law against it. And yet there are so many families that spend generations trying to pay off a debt. UNICEF shared the disturbing reality of a former slave, Hamo. The article released explained how Hamo's father was born into slavery. At age 41, Hamo's father has just finished working his 25th year in the brick kilns. Hamo's grandparents had borrowed money from the landlord, which is why him and his family had been in debt. This is commonly known as the debt trap, where landowners and slaveholders loan money to others, luring them into slavery. Hamo's family is one of the estimated 1.8 million people thought to be in a debt trap in Pakistan. In a debt trap, slaves end up working more time than the amount of money that was initially borrowed. They don't realize this until this is too late, since the landowners are the ones who keep track of the transactions. They have to trust that the landowner is keeping track, which I'm sure is not the case. Child labor makes a large percentage of Pakistan goods. These include the making and collecting of bricks, carpets, coal, cotton, glass bangles, leather, sugarcane, surgical instruments, and wheat, according to the Bureau of International Affairs. As mentioned before, there have been efforts in Pakistan to abolish slavery completely. Although it might take time, there are actions taking place as we speak. For example, in 2017, the Sindh province took one step closer to eliminating slavery by creating a minimum age of 15 for both employment and hazardous employment. Multiple NGOs, including Free the Slaves, have been getting more involved with the survivors of modern slavery. For example, Free the Slaves has tried to identify more situations of modern slavery in Pakistan by listening to former slaves' stories. Free the Slaves, along with many other NGOs, have tried to make more awareness of modern slavery. After all, modern-day slavery is very present in today's society. To think that in Pakistan alone, there are over 8 million people enslaved. Imagine how many people are enslaved throughout the whole world. But don't worry, we can help slaves, even though you may not think so. By donating to NGOs such as Free the Slaves and Green Rural Development Organization, you are helping fund any further research on modern slavery today, which could eventually lead to the rescuing of modern slavery victims.